Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Welcome to day 2 of Love Week. Thanks for joining. Give me a sec, I'm just going to share this in the big Creative Fun community. If you didn't catch yesterday's video, go and watch that and pick up some nuggets of wisdom around how some really good mindset transformation nuggets that I shared yesterday. And I'm going to share a bit of my story with you today about how I ended up in Indonesia and then India, and how that was kind of the catalyst that very much changed the direction of my life. It's a fun story. It wasn't all fun and games, as you will hear in a second. Share to a page. Sorry, I'm trying to see around my tripod legs. If you're watching, say hello, send me some hearts, send me some likes. I'm actually in the yard of my new place that I just moved into in Montreal. There's a water fountain in the background, which you may be able to hear. It's very peaceful and calming. Give me 1 second. Cool. And we are live. So hi everyone, thanks for watching. If you're watching live, send me some hearts, send me some likes. If you're watching the replay, drop me a comment, say hello. Thank you so much for watching. And today is day 2 of Love Week, where I'm sharing some of my juiciest nuggets of wisdom on how I created a life that I love. Yesterday I shared some tips on some really juicy nuggets on how I made my mindset transformation to really start to just loving my life at a whole other level, and start to see, really seeing more of the things that actually really made me happy show up in my life. And today I'm going to be talking about how I made the shift from working in a corporate film career that was really, exhausting me and not really bringing me the creative fulfillment that my soul was really craving, and what that process was like to make that shift to working, in a career where I was location independent, really, getting to choose who I work with, working with really inspiring clients all over the world, earning so much more money than I was working in my corporate career, having so much more freedom, but mainly having so much more satisfaction, fulfillment and enjoyment in my career. And it was a really messy process, I'm not gonna lie. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah Mack. I'm a writer and a mindset coach for creatives. Hi Liv, thanks for watching. And right now I'm based in Montreal. I've lived and worked in 13 different countries over the last 3.5 years. I've got 2 businesses. I've got Juicy Copy, which is my copywriting business. I've got With Sarah Mack, which is my mindset coaching business. And I'm going to share with you my story of how I transitioned from working in a corporate career in film production out in Vancouver in BC. And basically it happened, it was really messy, it was a really horrible burnout. I was doing my master's in film production in Montreal, and I would work there in the winters. I would fly out to Vancouver and work, really long hours on film sets all summer long. And basically earn my money for the year, and then go back and work really hard in my master's. And I say work really hard, I was having a really good time in Montreal because it's such an incredible city. There's so many amazing venues, performances, film festivals, and I was just in creative heaven in consuming all of this inspiration and events and wonderful people. So I was really loving my life, and I did love working in film, even though I knew it wasn't quite what I wanted to be doing. And thanks for your hearts. And so really, I knew that it wasn't a career that I wanted to stay in. I couldn't see, any of the higher up positions were anything that was really very appealing to me. And I just couldn't see myself there. So I knew I didn't have a future in that industry, but I knew I wanted to be location independent, but I had no idea what that was going to look like. So I remember I used to journal about wanting to be location independent, and but not really knowing what that was going to look like. And it was really, you know, I'd been working really, really hard, trying to make this career work, make money, and, you know, come and have a little bit of creative freedom during my master's in film studies during the winter. And I started birthing a lot of ideas that I was getting really excited about. But I just led myself into a state of exhaustion. You know, I did make a short film. I made a few short films. I was doing a lot of dancing, and was really, you know, starting to find some of that creative fulfillment that I'd been craving for so long. And then I had a massive burnout. I had chronic fatigue for 5 years, and I didn't really realize at the time that that's what was going on. And basically what happened was some friends of mine who were running their business out in Bali in Indonesia invited me to come and work with them. So I put all of my stuff in storage in Vancouver. I got a one-way ticket out to Indonesia and, you know, went to help them set up their online business. She's a doctor, and she was helping people with their gut health through online marketing. And so, you know, I was helping them with their YouTube channel, with their copywriting, with their marketing. And it was being out in Indonesia that I met a lot of other writers who are working independently. And that's really what planted the seed. And it was in that moment that I realized that writing was a really strong skill of mine. And I got the brainwave to, you know, start working as a writer. So that's what I did. The job with my friends, that all fell apart. It was a kind of a series of unfortunate events, including me being massively burnt out, including, you know, my friend getting dengue fever, including her having to travel back to visit one of her parents who wasn't well. And so I basically ended up stranded in Bali, and I was really, really burnt out. And obviously by that time, you know, traveling to that really, really intense environment change where it was really, really hot. And my body was already sort of at its you know, it had been pushed to the limit. So my immune system wasn't that great. I ended up with some pretty nasty stomach infections, and that was, you know, just the first of many to come during my time in Asia. And basically my decision, you know, I was like getting massages, like doing workshops. It's basically the perfect place to be if you're burnt out, because you can get a massage for like $5 or less even, and really, really amazing, like healthy food in all of the restaurants there. And but it was, you know, I only had a limited budget because I wasn't working, because the job that I went out for just kind of fell apart. So I made the decision. It was very much you know, kind of a logical decision to go to India, because I knew, you know, a lot of people who are in Bali know that, you know, there's kind of a circuit, like a spiritual healing community circuit, and I saw some really incredible healers in Bali that really helped me. I went to see some psychics, like I went to see a lot of different practitioners who really helped me to kind of create a picture of what was really going on for me at that time. And, you know, the logical decision I made was to go to India and buy myself some time there, because it was a lot more affordable than staying in Bali. You know, accommodation was more affordable, food was more affordable. I knew it was kind of a meditation and yoga mecca, and that was exactly what I needed to be doing, just to rebuild my body and you know, really help to get my hormone levels back into balance. And so that's exactly what I did. I spent a couple months, I traveled around quite a bit, and I went to a Vipassana 10-day meditation retreat, and, you know, had some pretty amazing revelations in there. Also had an allergic reaction to the mosquito repellent that I plugged into my room. Had a doctor had to come out, give me some kind of what are they called, antihistamine injection. I didn't really know what was going on. Lots of like horrible health issues the entire time. And then I eventually ended up in Rishikesh, which is in the mountains in the foothills of the Himalayas. And it's, you know, it was kind of made famous in the 60s when the Beatles went there, and, you know, when it was kind of like cool to be a hippie. And so there's tons of amazing yoga studios and meditation teachers, and people from all around the world travel there to go and like to do meditation and, you know, connect with their inner selves. I'd be sat there in the organic cafe looking over the Ganga. That it was just all like women by themselves in their journals, journaling away. That was me, one of those. And you know, I also got a really, really serious stomach infection there as well. Every time I got on a train, my immune system couldn't quite cope with the you know, the germs. that there are a lot of in India. So I got really, really sick there as well. I spent a lot of time on the toilet. It was absolutely not pretty whatsoever, and hence my eat, pray, shit story. But I kind of see it, you know, in hindsight, I see that I was having to let go of a lot. I was going through a very intense transition from one way of thinking and being and listening to myself to another. And this has come up for me a lot in a lot of healings that I've been through. Sometimes the body has like very, very visceral purging that happens when you make those shifts in your mindset and in your emotions. You know, I think in Kundalini yoga, they say we have something like 9 different parts to our body and our soul and our energy system. So we have so much beyond the physical and the mental and the emotional that we don't really talk about and don't really have that much of an awareness of. But this is something, you know, a picture that I've been slowly building just through the experiences that I've had and the shifts that I've made, the healers that I've seen, the different modalities that I've experimented with, and the results that I've got from doing this work, and how, you know, really working on an energetic level, on a mental level. Once you start to do that work, you start to see huge shifts in your environment, in your reality, and the actions that you take, and the results that you start to get. And so, you know, that's when I was in India. I trained in Reiki, I trained in Ayurvedic Marma point massage, all of these things that help to release a lot of stagnant emotion in the body and in our energy systems. And yeah, and I did a lot of meditation. I just experimented, did a lot of different types of meditation, and you know, and really did a lot of yoga. And during that time, it really felt like a purging, like I was letting go of, you know, all of that stress, all of that build up, all of those beliefs that I'd had about myself that had led me into this state of complete burnout, of not really being happy, not being fulfilled, not answering and really listening to what my soul actually wanted, because I was so busy trying to pursue all these other ideas that, you know, I thought were going to be good for me, because that's what had, you know, what comes up in conversation when you're at school, when you're with parents, when you're with, you know, everyone who's jumping on board with the status quo. But my body knew I wanted something otherwise, so it really forced me into making that change. You know, I knew it was physically impossible for me to carry on working in a very high intensity film production job. So I knew I had to think of another career, and I knew I was really sick, and it was going to take me a long time probably to rebuild up to this, to health and strength again. A lot of people never recover from chronic fatigue, and so I knew I had to have something where I was in charge of my own schedule, so that I could give myself that time and those breaks to have naps and to really work at my own pace, so that I could recover and take care of myself properly. And so that's really how my copywriting career began, because it gave me that freedom. And I started it in India, and, you know, eventually started earning a bit of money, and then I had enough to move back to the West. So I stopped in the UK for a little bit, and then eventually moved back to Canada to be with my man, who I'd been away from for like almost a year. So it was, as you can imagine, a very intense period of transformation. But there was always, you know, I always had faith that I was going to get better, because I knew there was no other option, and there were so many things that I wanted to do with my life, and I knew that I could do it. And I really spent a lot of that time, you know, obsessively learning about my body, about my hormones, about supplementation, about healing practices, so I could really understand what it took for me to heal and take care of my body. And then that's really what led me to the mindset work. That was the final piece that helped me to build my strength back up, and actually be healthy and be able to do the things that I wanted to do in my life, and not just have to go to bed at 6 p.m. every single day. So really, I wanted to share this story with you, because it's proven to me that our soul will always find a way of getting what it wants. So if you find that you're maybe self-sabotaging, finding something really difficult, something's really not working out for you, there's a part of you that maybe you're not listening to, and that part will always find a way to be heard. So, you know, maybe there's a lot of fear around making those changes, going in a different direction, really stepping out and owning that part of you. But as in my case, if you don't listen to it, it can be a pretty brutal transformation if you try and resist it for a really long time. So, and to be honest with you, I think I think there's a real power in having a breakdown, because, you know, having that intensity of really having to force everything that I love doing out of my life for a period of time forced me to go inside, forced me to do that deep cleaning of all those beliefs that I held about myself, all of that mindset that wasn't working, wasn't helping me to move in the direction that I really was craving to go in, and had got really good at ignoring, or, you know, it's a mysterious process, but I ultimately believe that we're always going to end up where we want to, where we really crave and desire to end up. So it's really important to have that self-awareness, to be practicing that and to be doing that mindset work, so that we are, you know, working through those resistances, not ignoring those parts about ourselves that are maybe holding us back, causing resistance, self-sabotaging, and, you know, really taking action on that. And I credit, you know, the fact that I recovered to the incredible coaching support that I have had throughout these years, and just really having that time one-on-one to really devote care and attention to myself and what it is that I needed, and to have that accountability to really prioritize that, because it was that the lack of having that had really led me to you know, to not prioritizing my health and my care and the things that I was most passionate about, and, you know, really sacrificing a lot of my time and my health and my energy to my employers. So thank you. Thanks, Ariane. So I wanted to share that story with you. Let me know if you have any takeaways, and really the message that I want you to take away from this is that if you're craving a life of more creativity, more fulfillment, working with people that you really love working with, if any of those things aren't really fulfilling you in any area of your life, then, you know, life is too short to say no to any of those things. And you can have all of those things that you want. You know, now I work with incredible people. I work pretty exclusively with women, which is just the most wonderful experience, and I absolutely love it. You know, I have so much time and energy to put into my creativity, more than I ever did before, and, you know, I'm working towards building even more of that, and really being very strategic about the way that I'm building my business in order to set up that life for myself, and you know, really being able to make progress with that, and to start to free up more time and more energy and more resources to really find creative fulfillment in a way that's completely led by me and my impulses. And that is the most fulfilling thing, you know, not having to answer to anybody else. So that's really what I want for you. And I hope the story has inspired you. Let me know your takeaways. And I'll be back tomorrow to be sharing more of my story with some more nuggets of wisdom for you. So have an amazing afternoon, and, you know, if anyone's interested in finding out about how I can support you with one-on-one coaching work, just send me a message, let me know what you're up to. I would love to hear about it. Lots of love. Bye.